Hello and welcome to our Greek verse for the week. Have the 144,000 from the Middle Ages behind me. We are in Revelation 7 in my podcast today, or this week, and so I thought I would do verse 9 as our Greek. So let's dive in. Meta tauta, after these things, very common expression in the New Testament. After these things, which is after the vision of the 144,000 Jews who will be in the kingdom of God. Of course, it's a symbolic number, a complete number. Whatever the full number of the elect of Israel are, to be there. And again, I didn't talk about this in the podcast as to whether the 144,000 represent all Jews of all history, which is doubtful, of course. Or whether they represent the Jews who are to be saved in the church age, so to speak. Of course, Revelation doesn't know or doesn't show signs of knowing of the church age, so to speak. But anyway, getting a little off there. In my podcast, I suggested that I do side with those who see the 144,000 as a representation of those ethnic Jews who will believe on Christ. And so we go on now to the general number of those in the church age, so to speak, who will be saved, who are non-Jews. After these things I saw. Adon is the aorist of hurao, I saw. It's first person singular, although that ending could be third person plural as well. The paradigm goes on, se, amen, eta, on, da-dum. So that ending on could be either first singular or third plural. I would say it's first singular. I saw. You can see the id, the video there in the middle. After these things I saw, and behold, a great crowd, apollos oklos, with the adjective coming after the noun, which is fine. We can handle that, right? Which, relative pronoun, to number, this is from arithmeo, arithmetic. It is, however, an infinitive. 6 out of 7 infinitive forms end in I. And with the sigma alpha, it is an aorist active infinitive from arithmeo, which to number it, that is to number the great crowd, no one was able. So this is the relative clause. Hon arithmesai auton udes edunato. I know some of you want to hear the pronunciations, so let me go back and give you the pronunciation thus far. Metatauta edon, kai edu oklos polus, hon arithmesai auton udes edunato. Okay, after these things I saw, and behold, a great cloud, which no one was able to number it. Some manuscripts, I think, don't have the it. It's a little redundant, but we can handle it, right? Was able, this is from dunamai, omai, its deponent, which means that it takes passive endings, even though we translate it like it's active, although to be able is an intransitive idea. It doesn't really go passive anyway, which is part of why deponent verbs often are intransitive verbs, which no one was able. This is I would say the imperfect of it. I know the alpha might mislead you into thinking, is it aorist? But anyway, I'm going to go with imperfect. No one was able to number this great multitude from every people group, from every ethnos. Nation is an anachronistic word because they didn't have nation states. That's an invention of modern times. But something like that in the ancient world. So like the Israel, which is an ethnic group, right? Ethnos, it's an ethnic group. From every, so these are both genitive. They're unusual genitives, right? They're like second semester beginning Greek genitives. Ethnos, ethnus. This is the strangest of all the noun forms. Ethnos, ethnus. It looks accusative plural from beginning Greek, But in second semester, you learn that there are these weird ones that are neuter, that go ethnos, ethnus in the genitive. So this is genitive neuter singular. This is archon ontos. So this is genitive singular also, neuter. From every people group, and from tribes, from every tribe, and from the peoples, and from the, I'm not sure what the precise distinction is between peoples and ethnic group, but anyway, and tongues. I suppose, again, I'm making this up, not entirely, but I suppose you could say, like, for example, people from Galatia, people from Roman Galatia could be called Galatians. So those from Lystra, from Derbe, from Iconium, from Pisidian Antioch, they could be called Galatians. I suppose you could call them Galatians as terms of people. But there are lots of different ethnic groups in Roman Galatia, Lycaonians and so forth. So Lycaonian would be an ethnos, whereas a Galatian might be a people. I'm kind of making it up, not entirely, okay? Tongues, of course, refers to languages. There are correlations between these, of course. You can have multiple tribes within a people group, of course, 12 tribes of Israel, and so forth. Even Athens, which I used to think Athens philosophy, yeah, but of course the demes of Athens, the different segments of Athens were originally different tribes. Same thing in Rome. Rome was originally divided by different tribes. You know, I tend to think, oh, Romans are more sophisticated than to have tribes. That just reflects my own, the biases of my own education growing up. Okay, well, moving on. Standing before the throne and before the Lamb. The grammar of the most of this line is pretty easy. Before is a preposition, takes the genitive, and it's used twice here, and here genitives go with it. Estotes is a little interesting. It is from histemi, so you can see the st of standing in there in it. I know that it's a perfect form. Sigma often reduplicates with a rough breathing. Well, sigma doesn't reduplicate very normally. Sometimes, sometimes it reduplicates with a rough breathing mark. Sometimes it just reduplicates with just the epsilon. There are places where it reduplicates with the sigma. This is perfect. I don't have a nice little cliche for it. I just know it's perfect. My cliche is, my aunt is an active participle, but the new doesn't show up in the perfect. So I say my aunt is an active participle, which makes no sense whatsoever unless you've learned the other mnemonic. And this isn't even aunt. It's a perfect participle. Perfect active participle, nominative masculine plural from histemi. S is nominative plural. Now, what's weird about it is because there is no nominative plural here. It seems to be referring to the great crowd, of course, and a great crowd is plural, but the word great crowd is singular. So suddenly we've switched from the singular great cloud to the plural, the great crowd having stood before the throne. I guess that's okay, you know. And again, I don't mean any offense. I may be the dope, okay? But it seems to me that John, the son of Zebedee, if indeed he is the author of Revelation, Greek is not his first language. And so I can forgive him a few grammatical infelicities. I don't consider those errors. There aren't errors of grammar, because grammar is just convention. But so anyway, none of that bothers me that much so far. Then I get to the last line, and suddenly we have an accusative plural here. With white robes being thrown around them. Very strange. Is this, and some of you I know are more attuned to the fine points of grammar than I am. I remember having a debate with a friend in college about whether there was such a thing as an accusative absolute. And I thought of my good old friend, Francis Scott Key from college, whom I haven't talked to in decades. Is this a accusative absolute? Does the accusative absolute even exist? Why am I saying this? Because really, Greek does what's called a genitive absolute. And I would have put this in the same case as this. If we're talking about the great cloud, the great crowd, I would have made it either nominative plural or nominative singular. So it is a bit peculiar grammatically to me. I welcome correction in the comments. But it's basically saying, I mean, we know what it's saying, that this great crowd, they all have white stoles. They all have white robes. Periblepe menus stolas lukos. Right, let me pronounce the first line for those of you who want the pronunciation. Estotes enopion tu theu, kai enopion tu arniu. Peribleplemenus stolas lukos, kai poinikes entais kersen auton. So they're wearing white robes. This is perfect. You can see the little, gets a little beside itself here. It is perfect. It is, men are passive participles, perfect passive, robes being cast around. This is accusative masculine plural, matching this here from Perry Balo, to throw around. Okay, and poinicus, palm branches in the hands of them. This, again, is a strange, I find the case strange. This is a nominative masculine plural. Why is it nominative masculine plural? Very strange to me, the grammar here. And of course, it may be something that's dialectical, maybe something I don't understand, or of course, it's possible that this is John, who's writing in a language that is not his first language. Okay, well, I welcome your comments, but this has been the Greek of Revelation 7:9 for this week.